Hey guys, good morning. I just wanted to come on here and talk to you about something that I read last night before I went to bed. And it basically was stating that, don't let the insignificant actions of others dictate how you choose to react. Don't let the insignificant actions of others cause you to have emotional reactions that control your life. Now, I know that's a really, really hard thing to do. Trust me, it's really, really hard for me. When I was younger, I was just such an angry kid. I didn't have the greatest upbringing. Not that it was absolutely terrible, but, there were just certain things that I went through in life that I probably shouldn't as a child. My mom was a single mom. She tried to do everything she could for me, but at the same time, being a single mom, not having any support from my biological dad, it was really, really hard for her because she was working, 2 to 3 jobs just to be able to put, peanut butter and jelly on the table, basically. So in no way am I blaming that on her, but that does cause, issues with children. And so, sorry, I'm being attacked by flies. That does cause issues with children. So, that I do believe that, a lot of the trauma from my childhood had caused me to become a very angry person. And that made my life really hard. And so, I now that I'm older in my life, I do see a therapist. I absolutely adore her. She is wonderful. She puts things into perspectives that I would have never thought. I would have never said, yeah, let's look at it that way. So, advocate for mental health, because regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless of whether or not you're crazy, which most people aren't, they just have a lot of baggage that they've accrued over their life. We're human beings, we don't know how to deal with certain traumas, and a lot of us just kind of pack it down until it's too much for us. So I'm an absolute advocate for mental health. Talking to somebody about, stuff that's going on helps to be able to get through it. It helps to be able to let it go or learn how to deal. That being said, as I was saying before, me and my tangents, it's not easy to go through this life and not have emotional responses to the things that people do, because it's really easy to get mad. Right? I mean, if you think about it, there's 2 places that we generally react out of. And those 2 main places are fear and hurt. When we become fearful, we become angry or sad. But our fear response is, like if somebody says, I'm going to punch you in the face, your automatic response is, depending on who they are, your automatic response is going to be fear or hurt or both, and then you're going to get angry because that person wants to hurt you. So it's just, when somebody hurts you, when somebody says, something negative or hurtful towards you, especially if it's somebody that you care about, you're going to get hurt, and then you're going to get mad, and then you're going to want to hurt them, because that's just the emotional response that we have. And it's really difficult to not just understand that, but to recognize it when it happens, because in that moment our emotional reactions are the first things that happen. But if we can notice that, even if you already reacted and then you go, oh, I reacted because of that, that is a great thing to acknowledge, because now you're actually paying attention to it. Now you're actually going, oh wait, that was something that hurt my feelings, and that's why I reacted out of anger. And when you do that, you start to be able to pay attention to it more as it happens in life, because let's be real, people on the internet, people in our lives, they're going to try to hurt our feelings, and that's not a reflection on you, that's a reflection on them. But you don't have to fall prey to it. You don't have to become susceptible to that. It is your choice how you choose to react, right? So if somebody says something hurtful to you, then you can respond in a hurtful way. I used to do it all the time. I used to tear people down constantly because they were hurting me, because they did something that I didn't like. And I finally stopped myself one day and said, you know what? That's not how we respond to people. And I am doing the ugly thing that I hate. I'm a hypocrite. So I had to stop myself and say, you know what? That's not the energy that I want to put into this world. That's not the energy I want to teach my kids. And of course, I am human. I absolutely have my flaws. I absolutely do fall back into that. But I acknowledge it now. I respond to myself and I fix it. Because that is also part of the journey, is not only acknowledging the fact that you do it, but fixing it. Because then that causes your brain to go, I don't want to do that again. So let's pay attention to it. And then you go from there. It's a very hard thing to do. Do not in any way, shape, or form, if you try to do it, be down on yourself for failing. Because it's not a failure, it's a lesson. If you learn from it, it's a lesson. So you're going to have moments to where you react and you go, why did I do that? That's you acknowledging the fact that it's happening. That's you acknowledging the fact that that's not okay. And then when you are in that moment, think of ways that would have been a better reaction. Now, I'm not saying don't react at all. I'm saying have a better reaction than that anger. And then, on the flip side of that, when you get hurt and you start crying and it hurts you and you let that emotion out, if you don't want to constantly cry about things like that, there's nothing wrong with crying, trust me. I mean, if you're doing it overly or excessively, then, you might want to think about why that's happening, because it might be an underlying thing. But if you're crying about it, think about the reason why it hurts you. Why does that hurt me? Well, because I care about that person. But does that person care about you if they're willing to allow you to feel that way? If they're wanting you to feel that way? Think about it that way. When you look at the world as the people that are in it, when you look at those people and you say, if I treated that person the way that I wanted them to treat me first, let's say that first, if I walked up to somebody and interacted with them in a positive manner, I wonder if that person would then not only turn around and give that positivity to someone else, because now you've had a good positive experience. I feel like most people are up on their guard when they're in society because everybody is a negative person in society, because they all think that everybody's just going to attack them all the time. But if you flip the script, if you show them that positivity and kindness, I'm not saying you have to go out of your way. I'm just saying if you have a positive interaction with someone as opposed to a negative one, or as opposed to just like a neutral one. I'm not saying we're changing society here, people. I'm not saying we're changing people. I'm just saying that maybe, just maybe, that positivity will then go to that person, and that person may have a more positive day, which means that person will radiate a little bit more positivity. We got to do something. We got to change the mindset, because living day to day in anger is just not working. I really hope that you guys have an amazing day. I hope that this helps. If you guys want to talk, if you guys have anything going on, I am more than happy to have a conversation with you. And if you guys need anything, if you guys need help, I'm here. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Sending positive love and light to you. You're gonna have a great day, and you're an awesome person. Thanks, guys.